So I agree. I don't think you wouldn't want to rattle off your list because you don't want it to be performative. Then at the same time, I think it's important before you get too emotionally involved to see how a man responds when you're trying to teach him how to love you.
Come on now.
So if you're not giving any instruction, then you won't be able to see how he responds to when you're trying to guide him on a way to express a love he feels.
Yeah.
But he has to be taught on how to deliver that love in a way that lands in your heart. And if you're going to have a long-term relationship, so you're looking at over 2 decades here, and if you're going to have a long-term relationship, you're going to hit seasons where he's got to be retaught.
Yes, sir.
Because you're going to become a version of life is going to change you in ways that you become a different version of yourself that now has different needs. And you're going to have somebody that is flexible enough to be able to adapt and to give you what you need in this season so that you're not in a relationship getting what you used to need. The greatest depth of learning takes place through conversations.
Right.
And that's what tonight is all about. That's why I asked when I had this idea to have a singles night. That's why I hit Leticia and said, hey, would you come? Because I want you to facilitate conversations. Because there's a way that we can learn through that's a bit different. So that's what this is actually all about. Yeah. And we want you to have various perspectives from different people who are in different seasons in life. And so this is why we're going to participate. They drafted me in this. Like I don't have stuff to do Sunday morning, but we're really, really excited about it. We want it to be, it's going to be biblically based, but it's going to be authentic.
Right.
And it's going to be real because you're dealing with real life and you want real perspective. And that's what we intend on having today. Also, some of the feedback that we got, we listened to it. So we did an event here called Relationships Uncensored. And some of the feedback we got from the singles portion was the need to get some questions answered for it to be a bit more interactive. And so the safest way for us to do that in an environment like this is for you to actually, if you got questions that you want to be addressed or you want some perspective on, what we want you to do is they're going to put a lower third on the screen and you can text your questions. Don't text your number.
No, text your questions to this number. Text your number.
I want to know if somebody's single working in the media department. What is... I caught that. Loose here tonight. Loose here. Too early.
Yeah, so text your questions to that number and we'll make sure that we try to cover them.
So all throughout the night, you'll see that lower third popping up from time to time. And we want to serve you in that way. So, man, we're so excited. I think we got one of the best conversationalists.
That's right.
Leading this discussion tonight in the person of the one and only, our dear brother, Darius, everybody. And so, man, we're so excited. It's going to be an incredible night. Turn your attention to the screens and get ready for the Dear Future Wifey podcast.
God, your favor has allowed the Dear Future Wifey podcast to be the first of its kind.
Oh my God.
The first to be booked by churches.
How y'all doing, Word of Truth Church?
The Bible says that God is not the author of confusion. So I ought to know exactly where I stand with you.
The first to be booked internationally.
And we try to please the world versus the word.
You said we try to please the world and not the word.
Yeah.
And the difference is just an L.
That's right. That's right.
And you take an L when you try to please the world.
Come on, that's it.
The first to be booked at a major award show.
I think so often when we hear that idea of love or someone says, I love you, they say it in the word, but you can't see it anywhere in the deed.
You are using this podcast to heal countries.
I will use my story to steer other young men away from the road and the path that I took.
Thank you for transforming my pain into a beautiful platform.
Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I'm your host, Leticia. Listen, are you still shacking up with us? No. If you're still shacking up with us, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. This is season 8. We are at Change Church in the ATL, where the visionary is none other than Darius Daniels and his beautiful wife, Shamika Daniels. Listen, we're going to have an amazing time. Thank you so much for allowing us to curate this conversation. How many of y'all are single? I just a road check to make sure that no married people snuck into the place today, you know. And so, because sometimes a lot of married people want to be single again, and then single people want to be married, and, we have that conundrum going on. And so we're going to keep it lit. The moniker of the podcast is We Keep It Lit. We live intentionally and transparently. Today, we have an amazing group of panelists, and we're going to start from the back row, allow everybody to introduce themselves. Matter of fact, we're going to start where we are, and then we'll introduce where we're trying to get to. How many of y'all still want to be married? Y'all still want to be married? All right. And so we'll finalize with the Daniels at the end. All right. Introduce yourself, King, and tell a little bit about yourself.
Sure, what's going on? How y'all doing? All right, thank you. My name is Corey Arvinger. I am a member here at Change Church. Initially from Greensboro, North Carolina. I run a clothing brand. Oh, okay, shout out Greensboro. It's like 6 of us. I run a clothing brand called Support Black Colleges. I focus on getting our kids back to HBCUs, and I have a background in marketing. Thank you. Anybody went to an HBCU? So I went to the number 1 HBCU. That's Howard University. Ain't you? All right, I love that. And yeah, I'm looking for my wife. I've done and I see there's a lot of options out here, so I'm excited to be here. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Amen.
Yo. That's how we started tonight?
Yeah.
Well, you know me. Man, listen, I'm mad at you. Man, my name is Anthony O'Neill. I do want to start off.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you. Man, I do want to start off by saying I don't appreciate how this is a singles night, but they put the singles behind the married people. So
talk about.
I'll get with y'all's leaders tomorrow. Well, man, I'm just excited to be here. I'm a speaker, author, host, and just an advocate of living a debt-free life that leads to wealth and financial freedom. And so I'm excited to be here, ladies.
Hey everybody. Orisa Brene. I am a member here at Change Church as well. Many of y'all know I am on the hunt for my husband. Okay, and I just believe that maybe he may be here tonight, but also I'm pretty sure he watches on the so he may see this on the replay, he may see the clips later, you just never know. I'm just grateful to be here. I'm a multimedia personality, content creator, the girl who wears many hats, okay? And I'm doing it for the girls. So ladies, this one's for you.
Good.
Hello. What's up, everyone? My name is Amber Ty Hemphill. And I am originally from Detroit, Michigan. Okay, Detroiters, what up, though? I am a producer, writer, and actress for the Country Wayne skits. And I am a single mom. I have a beautiful 4-year-old, almost 5. And he's a sweetheart. And I am also a member of this amazing church.
How y'all doing? I'm just Rod. I'm just Leticia husband. I'm blessed to be here, man. It's such an amazing thing to see all y'all beautiful people out there. Yeah.
They get you to hold the mic up.
Yeah.
You get married, you gotta
help them out.
help me. No, I'm Leticia, my husband's Rod Gardner there. Fitness gurus, G-Life Society community, authors, we do it all. We do it together. So we just want everyone to find love and make babies God's way. In the name of Jesus.
The visionaries of the house. Introduce yourself for the people that may not know.
My name's Darius. And I'm married to my college sweetheart.
Yeah.
You can hear. And together we get to lead this incredible spiritual family called Change Church and serve these amazing people in this great city. So we're just grateful to be here tonight. Going to be a great conversation.
Yeah.
So glad to be here, and I love being his helpmate, and I hope that we all listen. Period.
Oh, God. Well, help me tonight then. Well, this is help. Country one helps on the way. Don't play with me. Threaten me with a good time.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
So when we think about this, you pointed out something that was very important. Amen, amen. You said that was your college sweetheart. She is your college sweetheart. I wonder if we miss the mark a lot of times, looking for certain things that may not be what we should be looking forward to. So let me talk to you, Corey, since you're over this network that focuses on HBCUs. Did you feel like when you went to college, did you go to college looking for your mate?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't know if y'all know, but at HBCUs, it's kind of like church. It's like 90% women. So I grew up in a small city, Greensboro, North Carolina, and being in D.C., Chocolate City, I hadn't seen some of the women that I have seen, at college. So I definitely wasn't looking for a wife. I was barely looking for education, I ain't gonna lie. I was just trying to get away from my mama. So I will say that now I regret not taking some of those opportunities because we're in the position we're in now.
When you say position, what position are you talking about?
I'm single. I'm on stage trying to get some help. Literally, yeah.
Which is interesting because what I've heard, the studies show that our white counterparts, they go to college looking for their mate, looking for their husband. And then our African-American individuals, we go turn it up, stomp in the yard and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't focus, and then we focus later on in life, around close to late 35 after your OBGYN tells you, listen, are you interested in having a kid? Because you're 35 and you're about to have a geriatric childbirth. So, are you still interested in having kids? And so then we start getting serious about our life because we've been chasing the bag.
I don't know what's going on, but doesn't it feel like this year is going by extremely fast? Okay, is it just me, or does it feel like between social media or life in general, there's a ton of distractions? Have you ever thought about what you would need to do in order to become who you want to be? One word: clarity. I'm Leticia Whitfield, and I partner with my friends again at I Can't Wait to Travel for a clarity retreat so that we can get clear. I want you to escape with me to Cancun, Mexico at the Unico 2087 Riviera Maya on September the 26th to the 29th. My homie David Burris, Christian life and relationship coach, and I will be facilitating workshops to help you begin to focus only on those things of importance so that you can thrive in all areas of your life. What are you waiting for? Go to ican'twaittotravel.com, click on the tab that says Group Trips, and join me on the Clarity Retreat. It's time to get clear.
And which brings me to my boy, Anthony O'Neill. So Anthony, you keep it real. I know there's a strong focus on your platform to make sure that we are debt-free, which is extremely important when building a home and building a household and building a family. Let me ask you first, what started you out on making that your focus and your calling? I'll call it a calling. Wouldn't you call it a calling if you would?
Absolutely. Melissa?
The question is, what made you decide to do that? What made you decide to focus on debt and finances for a family?
I'm like Corey, man. This wasn't a calling up front. It was a woman told me, you got a Walmart t-shirt, Payless tennis shoes, You can't take me out to eat until you have some money. And so my initial pursuit of building wealth was to impress a woman. But then when I went to impress that woman, respectfully speaking, I became broke because I didn't pursue wealth with the correctness of it, right? And so now that I am in this season of, respectfully, I have wealth. You know,
Talk about, don't be sad. Bonnie.
You know, I mean, I'm in the church, so I can't say too much. But the reason why I think I still am wealthy, but I think sooner or later, more wealth will come because I will find my helpmeet. But not every woman is a helpmeet. I'm a bar mute. God bless.
Well, thank God, rock and hide your hand, Agnes. You said not every woman is a helpmeet. Why? Unpack that.
I mean, I've met a lot of ladies, but not every woman is a wife. And so what I've learned, and then let me also say this, not every man is a husband. Because I can say this about myself, I didn't become a husband material until recently. But I was moving as a little boy in a grown man's body. And what I've learned is that ladies who see money, these are young ladies in grown women's body, and don't understand that, oh, as a wise man, I'm not going to drop a lot of money on you on the first date when I don't know you. Because right now we're in tryouts. I'm trying you out by the Spirit to make sure. And if I try you by the Spirit, I promise you, God will speak back to me. And I'm not even playing with it. I already know when I'm going to finals. And so if I know you are the one, then my pursuit comes harder, it becomes better, it becomes wiser. So, you know, a lot of people crack on me because I say I won't spend over $100 on the first date. That's just not my wife. Because my wife will understand when you become my wife, you will never have to ask or desire for anything. It's like I've been waiting for you. So.
Clapping right now, but if he took you on a date and only spent 100, see, look at her. She said 100. I feel a cheesecake anointing coming over this place right now. A cheesecake factory. Y'all, depends on what you eat. Now, if you start drinking up a whole lot, then yeah, but a meal at Cheesecake Factory is perfectly priced. And the reality is, if he took y'all out and he only spent $100 on y'all, would y'all go back to your homegirls and say, he ain't the one? We can say that. No, y'all be good. They lied.
Respect.
They lied.
Y'all tapping up in this service. Y'all, where my brothers at? Make some noise. Yeah. So, brothers, do y'all really think they gonna come back and be talking negative about us if we spend less than 100?
Yeah,
then I'm gonna leave it right there.
That's good. Let me switch over to some of the married folks before I get myself in trouble. Listen, Rod and Leticia, y'all did my podcast in 2021. What I love about y'all are extremely transparent, and you talked about how y'all navigated these dating scenes in order to get to marriage. Y'all had a very tumultuous journey. I want you to unpack that. What was the most challenging thing that y'all had to undergo while y'all were dating?
I think the biggest part for me, I was a young single mom when I met my husband.
How old were you?
I had just turned 24, and our first date was the Waffle House. So yeah,
yeah.
Let's go. But I think the hardest part for me, though, being a single mom, was I didn't know how to be a wife if I was a mom first. I didn't know how to put wifely duties before being a mother when my kid was here first. So letting go of that control, or giving someone the option to take food off me or my daughter's table, releasing that control and learning to trust God in that was probably my biggest struggle, because I definitely have some trust issues.
Do we have any single moms out there? Right, yes. Can y'all relate to her journey? And so when you were dating her, did you have any preconceived notions where you were like, during that time, I didn't want to date somebody that had kids already. I didn't want a ready-made family or whatnot. Or did you not take her seriously at the very beginning of dating? What was your mindset back then, and how old were you when you were dating her when she was 24?
I think I was 32 at the time when I met my wife. But I'm one, I like to match when it comes down to the amount of kids you have. So if I have one, you can have one. So if I got one, you got two, it ain't gonna work. So I couldn't be a hypocrite because I had one. So if she had a daughter, it was fine. I can rock with that, but I couldn't go past one. That was my limit. But in the beginning, when I first saw my wife, at that moment, I did tell her, I said, "You the one."
You did?
I did.
3 days.
After 3 days, I said, "Baby, you are the one." Because for some reason, when I saw her, she sparked something to me that was different that I hadn't had before. But on top of that, I still was Rod.
New Ending Street.
Heart Atlanta.
Yep.
Black Thunder. So I still had a lot of growing to do. I was still a young man. I had a lot of growing to do. But I did know she was the one. And one thing that she challenged me with all the accolades I did have from playing football, had money, took her to the penthouse, tried to show her the penthouse. She wouldn't even go the first night. She said, "I got to go home to my daughter." She wouldn't even come up to the penthouse. So I was surprised with that one. So that was amazing. So even after that, she just showed. We went to the Waffle House. She was fine with the Waffle House. I said, "Oh, I got one." Because at first, based off the way she looked, you can always assume, boy, she got a lot of guys coming after her. She want the bag. She wants you to show her something different. But I was the one who was like, if you ain't okay with us doing the minimum, then at the end of the day, I can't take you to talk with me to do the most. So you're not going to say, "Hold on a minute, talk to me." So I wish you, my brother, I wish you all that.
I got a simple question for you. You got money. Why did you go to the Waffle House up? You're going to ask what the ladies are thinking. You got the money. How come you ain't take me to Rude Chris?
I didn't say how's that. That's what I'm saying. I'm from the hood. I don't get to Atlanta and change. So I'm from the hood. So Waffle House was fine. Eggs and a waffle, I'm cool with that. And my wife was cool with that too. So it wasn't about what I'm capable of and I can go to Rude Chris. I actually enjoy Waffle House. And if she would have looked at me sideways for taking her there, then I knew she wouldn't have been the one for me. Because at the end of the day, I need a humble woman who's willing to go to Waffle House or Rude Chris. We got to do both. We got to be able to do both.
You talked about, and maybe, TC, you can talk about this. He was talking about he was a young man. He was still being robbed. He was still, out in these streets, Black Thunder. I don't know if that was his football name of his Chocolate Thunder. I don't know if that was his football name, his exotic dancer name. I don't know which one it is. But what I'm trying to figure out is how did you navigate that space of saying, that you're investing in him with your heart and your emotions and not gambling incorrectly?
I believe in clarity, and I don't think you can be scared of conflict in relationships. And earlier on, he talked a good game. I'm not scared of conflict. I give you the smoke. But earlier on, I thought he was running game after 3 days when he was like, "Oh, you're gonna be my wife." In less than 2 weeks, he was like, "I love you." So when them 30 days came around 1 month, I'm like, okay, so what are we doing? Are we seeing other people? Are we all in? Like, what does that look like? And even though he wasn't all the way honest, even there was just something in his...
He said y'all was exclusive?
Yeah, of course. He didn't want me to see anybody else. But he wasn't done outside. We'll leave that alone. Glory to God. You saved.
But you said...
No, but you know what? Honestly, he has been that boy his whole life, and he's used to what I call these yes girls, but I'm that girl too, and I can have whoever I want as well. So, I gave him an option. Yeah, I told him you can have you or you can have me, but you can't have both. So if you want to be outside, I'm not one to convince you anything different. Either you know what you got in front of you and you're willing to do what it takes to keep it, or you can go back outside with the girls who'll let you do whatever you want. And he made a good choice.
And she actually did it. She cut me off for about 40 days. I was so confused. Changed the phone number.
She changed the phone number?
Yes. She fasted from me for 40 days, man. And I'm serious. She fasted for real. God, I'm a fast. I need to know.
I did a prayer, and I wasn't even saved back then, but God, we were still connected. He said, I told him I was obsessed with Rod. I was so crazy about this man that I couldn't control it, and I wasn't used to that. So I told God, I said, listen, if this man is supposed to be in my life, then put him in my life the way you intended. If he's not, then free me of this stronghold that I have created with this man.
She done did a war room prayer on you.
I did.
Lord.
I did. And on day 41, I was like, let me just call him and see what happens. See where I'm at. And he was like, he came running and he hasn't left my side since.
Y'all implemented something early in y'all's relationship. Talk about the program that y'all went through to bring y'all closer and to bring Christ into your relationship.
Oh yeah. So we weren't saved when we got together, but a couple of years in, we were still dating and just toxic. We wanted to be together, but we didn't know how to be together. So we got into an altercation at the gym, just arguing at the gym over a squat machine, and still in the gym. But a guy that was at a church at Radical Love, he came up.
Ask y'all first. Have y'all had to argue with a dude over a squat machine? Because that's not my anointing. I'll be like, you can have it. I'm gonna take a break and drink me a Gatorade or something.
So he was trying to make me do heavier weight.
Oh, that's what you're doing?
It's like, I'm not doing that. I still tell him I'm not doing it. But no, a guy came up to us and he invited us to church. It was actually Word of Faith at the time, and they had a program called Radical Love, and it was just for married people, and we were only dating at the time. But he said, listen, he told us, you guys should really come out and try this program, and we want to get you in there. If you guys, this will show you if you have what it takes to be together. And the program was a 13-week course, and it was, the motto was, your spouse is not your problem. Now, it took me 3 times to take that course to believe that. I was like, y'all don't know him. It's definitely the problem. No, but that whole thing, it changed our life. Getting saved together, getting baptized, connected into church, finding the right community. It changed from where we hung out to who we hung out with. It just changed everything around us. And I told him, we were shacking up at the time. So I was like, listen, I can't play house with you. So I'm going to move out. If you're ready to get married, then hey, stand up and get it together, or sit down and give room for somebody else. But I can't stay here in this way. God had convicted me to say, I can't do this no more. But the choice is yours. He went and got that ring.
So how long y'all dating during that time?
We were together about 3.5 years before he proposed. And then I also took the cookie off the table. Completely, because I said, look, now I'm gonna do it God's way. I can't be messing with you no more. We literally got married 6 months later. So
that's powerful. He said cookie powerful. That's what he said. He said cookie is powerful. They're gonna brand a new cookie line. It's gonna be a protein cookie. The cookie is powerful. It'll be a workout nutrition treat. You gotta go to the website and buy it. Listen. Amber, you're highly visible. I've been knowing you for about 20 years, and you're an absolutely beautiful woman. And we talk about, oftentimes offline, about your journey of dating. And I hate to ask people this question, but I'm gonna ask it just for the sake of your response. Why are you single?
Sheesh. Man, I mean, I'm really glad that you asked that question. I think the cliche answer would be, I haven't found the one yet.
Right.
Which is true. I haven't found the one that I'm in total alignment with. You know, the one that we have the same interests. We believe in the same faith. We like to do the same things. I also haven't found the one who has a plan for me. But if I'm honest and vulnerable, what I realized is that I didn't have the plan for myself. Right?
Talk about it.
So I'm 42 years old now. And when I look back over my life and I'm listening to them about college and different college sweethearts, and I asked myself, what was I looking for? I didn't have a plan.
Right.
I was looking for the man who looks good.
Yeah.
I was looking for the man who people said we look good together.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about, how is this man going to be as a father? Especially now being a mother, I'm like, that was so important.
Yeah.
And realizing, I read something once that said, there's 3 characteristics about a great man. And that he is a provider, he is a protector, and he is a preparer. And in preparation, you have to have a plan. So what is your plan for me? But I had to say, God, what is your plan for me?
Yes.
And when I really decided to go to him about it, I started to heal. And I started to become this person who was ready for a marriage, who was ready for a husband, who was preparing myself to be a wife. So I'm a catch now, honey. Don't get it twisted. But I also, unlike Leticia, I didn't have the confidence to say, hey, I can get anybody I want. People look at the exterior a lot of times and they think, oh, she's beautiful, she's got this. But I lacked confidence for a long time. I lost my mother at a...
They're going to say, oh. She said, oh.
I lost my mother at a very young age. I was 11 years old. And I had women around me who didn't necessarily build me up.
Yeah.
They tore me down because they were very jealous of my mother. So that was their way of... My father was a pastor, and we had a big church, and he was very handsome, and all the women wanted my dad. And it was like, forget the daughter. I don't care. I want to use the daughter to get to her father. So I didn't have good examples of women who taught me, how to carry myself, who taught me the confidence, who told me that I was worthy of this. And then I have a group of friends here on this front row, and I've been in Atlanta for 12 years, and I've learned so much from them. Even though I'm probably the oldest in the group, they've taught me, and God has healed me. So now I'm single and I'm ready to be married.
How do y'all have a circle of sisters that y'all can depend on and lean on? It's so important. It's so important to build community. And I'm talking about faith believers that can intercede with you, that can lock arms with you, that can pray for you when you're about to make a stupid decision, that can cover you, somebody that can not allow you, I can't say stupid, okay, stupid decision, because we make some stupid decisions. And it's this crazy ideologies that we have where you'll have, and it's that circle of influence will tell you, girl, that's your husband right there. And that man don't want you, And you done gas them up to go tell them that now they heartbroken over somebody that don't even know their name. It just don't make no sense. But you need some accountability partners around you to keep you uplifted. I want to ask my girl right here, Anicia. So Anicia, I saw her video, it went viral, where she came to Change Church, walked probably right there, and she said, I'm looking for my husband. My husband got to be here. And then she left out the front door dejected and said, I didn't find him this Sunday. Maybe I'll find him again. And so my question to you, are you as intentional as those videos are on desiring a mate?
I feel like at this point in my life, yes, this is the most serious I've been. I think the videos are the manifestation of my most inner thoughts being hilarious. Like, I'm trying to find a nice way to say, stop playing with me, come out of hiding. But I also realized too, where I have been seated lately does not allow me to properly turn around and see who's here. So while I'm trying to touch the hem of his garment, and be in your iPad, PD, because I'm trying to get close. I'm trying to get real close. I know it can be intimidating too to be that close for somebody else. So I know I'm trying to get more of my word. I'm being a lot more intentional, and I'm putting it out there. And what I love most is that there are people out there who feel the same. But what I will say about my journey too is that I found over the last few years, I was leaning so much on my own independence and being my own boss. And my prayer became, God, whenever it's time for that person to come, allow me to release some of my independence so that he's able to lead. And that's a scary prayer because it's getting real interdependent right now. I need help. I'm cool. I look forward to being somebody's helpmeet. I have a brother, so I don't feel like I'm able to give him relationship advice if I'm not even willing to step up and be an example for him. So just my thoughts, not too much.
Let me ask y'all.
But wait, Leticia, before you continue, you said something a second ago about women having a circle of friends that you can lean on that'll point them out. But for the fellas that are in the room, it's just as important to me to know, do you have men around you that are going to, put the pressure on you, because I think that plays into it. Not only do I feel like men look at what I do as a personality and then they try to match whatever idea they create, but what are your friends saying about you and what are they saying to you about who you're going after?
That's good. Brothers, how many men, can I get the men to stand up real quick? I want to see y'all. How many men we got in there?
3 of y'all.
So I need to let the women know their options around it. Y'all look around, brothers. Turn around, look around, turn around. Turn around, let the Lord use you. Look around, look around, look around here. Look around. Look around. Look around. Stand there, look. Let the lights be up. All right. So I'm going to ask y'all this.
But hold on, Darius. I'm sorry.
That ratio is terrible.
It's funny, though. We had a whole bunch of men stand up, and the ladies laughed, but they didn't really celebrate the man for coming to an event like this. So now, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Yeah. Don't clap yet, because y'all the same buddies that complain, where are the men? Where are the men? But then when the men step in, y'all want to half step, giving them praise.
So let's do a do-over. Where the men stand up real quick? Where the men stand up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit down. Seat. And that's to have a seat.
So let me tell you something. So my question to y'all ladies, would y'all feel like it was awkward if y'all came to church on the Sunday service and a dude shot at you at church? Good.
Nah, what's awkward is when you try to use the word that you just got in your pickup. Not too much.
Well, wouldn't it mean he was paying attention? Wouldn't that mean he was paying attention?
You just read that on the nose. Stop playing.
He was trying to use that. He was trying to make the word applicable. So you can't be mad at him for taking the word and applying it to your life. So my question is this for real. So my question is this. A lot of men, do y'all feel comfortable shooting your shot at a woman at church?
No.
See? He said no. Any other brothers, if you feel, I want to hear y'all yell yes or no. Do you feel comfortable shooting your shot at a woman at church? He said yes, he said no, they said yes and no. But the women just, unanimous decision has said that they're okay with you shooting your shot with them at church. Don't do it during praise and worship. Don't be doing it during the sermon and sliding notes by. But that parking lot is fair ground. You can go out in the parking lot, in the lobby. In the old school, we call it the vestibule area. You go out there in the vestibule area, and you can go shoot your shot. You know, I don't know if they got fellowship halls anymore, but the fellowship halls, you can shoot your shot. And so what we're telling you, brothers, is that it's okay to shoot your shot, and don't be walking up talking about, it's something about your spirit something about your spirit. Something about the way you worship that's drawing me unto you. It's something about your spirit.
Darius.
Yeah.
Their actions don't match what they're saying, though.
Why you say that? There you go.
They don't want to use.
Hey, yo, wake up. He choose violence. Go ahead, Ayo.
I'm not talking about, last time I heard you said church. I'm not talking about change.
Okay.
I'm talking about church, the kingdom of Christ. The reason why I feel as if the actions do not match, and this is not going to be a popular statement, but it's a real statement, and men are scared to say this, but it's the truth. The reason why most men will not try to holler at a woman in the church is because a woman runs her mouth too much. So if I approach, watch this, listen, listen, it's good. Listen, if you have pictures. Listen, I love it. Listen.
We gotta go some more time. We need to go.
Hear it out, women. Here we go. Women, listen. Go ahead, A.O. Make your point.
Here we go. The reason why is because this about it. If a man tries to holler at one woman inside a chain shirt, can I finish? Jesus. There you go. Thank you, brother. Thank you. If a man tries to holler at a woman in the church, and if it doesn't go the way that they both would like it to go, right? And then a man leaves, and let's say a month later, he sees another woman inside of the same church. That woman is like, yo, he trying to holler at me. He trying to do this. He trying to do that. Now listen, before y'all even go all like, wait, this ain't me, this ain't me. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is all ladies, but let's be real. This is an action of a lot of ladies. Fact. And most men will not. I already told PD and Pastor Shamika I was going to come and tell the truth. Most men will not want to approach a woman in the church, even if he really wants to, because he's fearful of if it doesn't go that way, what is my name and reputation after you and I end?
But that is a true statement. Listen, hold on. That is an absolute.
I ain't done. I'm not done. Hold on. Wait. Since we want to go spiritual. I'm sorry, ladies. It is also your spiritual responsibility to even cover the man, but it's not your man. And it is my responsibility to cover the woman and to treat the woman with the utmost respect that it's not my woman. So if it's not good, I shouldn't be dogging her. You shouldn't be dogging him. You shouldn't be spreading lies. You cover that. You know why? Because if you running your mouth about another man and you want your husband in the church and you talking about other men, your husband ain't going to want you because of your mouth. Wow. Got it.
I think it's a fine time for an altar call. We're going to have an altar call right now. Listen, that is a true statement, though, because I've heard that from men a lot. They don't want to get the reputation of he try to holler at everybody. You know what I'm saying? And he has a right. If he's, come on, like what is the statute of limitations? He can only holler about 3 women, and if nobody chooses him, he got to go find his woman at another church. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the statute of limitations? If you don't want him, it's okay. The fact that he's able to deal with the rejection or the redirection properly without assassinate your character, because I don't look at it as a rejection. If it's somebody ain't yours, it's just redirection. It's just redirection. It's not the person for you. And it's okay. He asked you out on a date, you're not interested. He said, thank you so much. You're still a beautiful woman. And then go on about his way and talk to your best friend and say, hey, how about you? Bitch. Let me ask you, would that be a problem? Would that be a problem that he tried to holler at you and your best friend? You didn't talk to him. Yeah, like who cares? If you didn't want him, why would you be mad? Y'all territorial over somebody that ain't yours. Like, that don't even make sense. Let me back up. Let me bring it back to the church. The Daniels. We're going. All right. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead. What you about to say?
Well, I was just going to say, I think you have a point, right? But I also think you said, what if he waits a month? Some of these men don't wait a month. We'll be the next day or the same day. And so walk away from me and then walk over to the next girl. Like, space it out, brother. Don't let me see it.
But I respect that. I respect that, right? But if you said no, why do
you care?
Moves on.
But maybe I didn't even get the chance to say no. How about that?
No, I'm with you. If you didn't say no, I'm with you on that part. I'm just saying when there's a clear definition, I'm not interested in you, he should not be locked down to wait 2 weeks, 2 months to pursue. If the man is a pursuer, I've never met an animal. I like you. Okay. I like her. But I'm just saying, if I've never met, and again, I'm just a theologian. That is my mentor, and I study the Word of God. But even I study history and animals. I've never met an animal wait to pursue after he's hunted. So as soon as he gets done, if that is done, he pursues on. And what I feel ladies in the church want is, I want you to sit for a year. And then here's another thing too. Even if he did talk to 10 ladies and change church, it's 1,000 of y'all in here. So that's a fact.
But I say this, can I add this too? If you go to change, we got 4 services. You may not see that woman again. So you have to try. I'm telling you. One weekend she going to 10, the next is 11, the next is. So you have to say something when you have the chance, because you just never know what service they coming to.
But also too, right. Same breath, we as women, we like to act like we don't want to shoot our shot. I know there are some shooters in here, but to that same point, there are 4 services. You may never see him again, okay? So shoot that shot. Hey, brother, how you doing? You look nice.
So have you ever shot your shot at a guy here at church?
Here at church?
Yeah, here at Change Church, this church right here. where the pastor is Pastor Darius Daniels. Have you ever shot your shot at somebody at the church?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You working on it?
Have I thought about it?
Have you been keeping your eye on somebody that you've been watching? If you come back to church, you're gonna shoot your
maybe once or twice. I think I did want to see if he's actually going to come again.
Okay, you're looking for consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's fair enough.
What about you in the same series?
You said the what?
Are you coming in the same series?
Right. So y'all can have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Corey, have you ever shot your shot at somebody at Change Church?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, wait.
Yeah, we're not telling them every.
It's a technical service. Y'all answering for me. That's crazy. I've never shot my shot at somebody at Change. I've been kind of weary about it because, so like me and Anissa, we do the pre-show sometimes, and being in a position where you're serving, I always want to make sure that I'm serving God first, and I don't want anybody to have like you say, it might not go the right way, and it may not end the way we want it, and then I'm like the guy who does this that also, it didn't work out, and so I'm just trying to be careful. I'm not against it by any means, but I just have to be careful and super intentional and make sure it's God's time and not my timing.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. You said something that's very interesting that could be also looked at as an excuse. When you say, she said that part. So they just said they gave you the open door policy to say you can shoot your shot.
We just got that today though. We just got that. I didn't know that was a thing. So now that I know, I'll see y'all on Sunday. All right? Just
what service you go to?
I go to 10. I sit right here in this general section. I'm going to stand up a few times this Sunday too. So
let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask all the single people before I go to the pastor. When do you think is a good time to propose? Do you feel like you got to date somebody for a year, 2 years? Do you feel like it's, people say all seasons, where it's like a full year, or when you know?
I don't think there's a timeline like that you can say for everybody. I think
I'm talking about for you.
Oh, for me? I mean, it's situational. So a previous relationship I had, we dated for 4 years, but she was in medical school, so we wanted to see where she got placed for her residency.
Did you believe that she was the one at any point?
I did.
Around what point was that?
Probably around year 2.
Okay, year two. So year 2, you felt like she was the one.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and then you just waiting on logistics, and you and I.
It was something that she also she wanted to wait because she didn't know where she was going to be at, and so I was just trying to respect what she wanted. But I knew, and I felt like if I was to do it, then I would be comfortable with my decision. But it has to be both of us have to agree on it.
100.
And so she ended up getting placed in a state that was not Atlanta. And as we tried to do long distance, it didn't work out.
Okay.
Communication, we're both people who like to spend time, quality time, and it just didn't work out. And so I think God made that move happen because it's crazy. I wasn't in the church then. And when she moved, I think a few weeks later I came to Change. And so it was I got invited, and I took that opportunity that I may have not taken because I was always going to Philly back and forth. And that was my reason. I'm always going to Philly for the weekend. And so I think that just something was removed so that God could take that place. And now, things are working out better. So
good. And so you feel like there's no timeline, but how long do you believe as a man that you would date a woman exclusively before pulling the trigger and asking her to marry you?
I mean, I think that you need to see somebody through all seasons. I think it's easy to say we'll get married when everything is going right. We haven't had many arguments. I haven't met your family. There's things that have to happen. I don't think it's a timeline, but more about situations have to occur. And I want to see how we both react in those situations. It might be a communication thing. It might be a family thing. I want somebody who's tied in with their family, who loves their family. I want to see your friends. It's hard for me to date women who don't have a lot of women around them because it tells me a lot about them. And so just I want her to meet my guys. You need to see who I hang out with because they're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of them. And so I think it's more just things need to happen so I can see you in every season, in every situation. And at that point, there's no timeline. If that's in 3 months, if that's in 2 years, then I'm going to be ready and okay with that.
So you would be willing to date a woman 2-3 years without knowing where you're going to place in your life?
I would know, but she has to be on the same page as me.
Cool.
So I wanted to do so, but
right.
If she wasn't prepared, then either I had to make a decision or try to wait it out, which I tried to wait it out, and it just didn't work out.
Good. Anthony, what about you?
Nah, skip me.
No, we're going to talk about you. No, we're going to ask you.
I'm gonna be real. I'm single. You have not been in a, no, woman, I'm ready. Hold up. But listen to what I'm saying is, I'm single. I haven't been in a successful relationship, so I don't know. That's why I listen to Darius and Shamika. That's why I listen to my pastors, to get the wisdom to know, because when I know, I will know, and I will make that decision. Until then, I can't sit here and say I'm single. Say, I know, I'm going to do it here. I don't know. I would have already done it. So ask me, bro. I don't have that answer.
I'm going to ask you a better question. Are you feeling hopeful with the type of women that you're meeting right now?
That's it. Yo, to answer that question, absolutely, man. We have some amazing ladies in the kingdom. I think the hopeless part wasn't on the woman, it was on me, if I was being honest.
Good.
And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, and I'll say this and just call this out. If PD is upset with me, he'll be upset with me in the back and he'll get me. But it was last year. Me and PD are sitting down having lunch, and he looked at me dead in my face and said, "The reason why you're not married is because of you." Yeah. And
iron sharpening iron.
And him and his wife both know of amazing ladies that I've dated. And for me, it was a level of immaturity in certain areas of my life that I needed to mature in.
Good.
And so hopeful for the ladies, absolutely. We have amazing ladies out there. I just had to become that amazing man first.
Love that. Excellent. I love accountability. Love it. Leticia, what about you? You feel like it's a timeline? Would you feel like you were being love bombed if you met a guy and he was checking off all the things that you had on your list, and he said, "Will you marry me?" And it was 3 months, and y'all went through some seasons, y'all had some real talks. You vetted him through your accountability partners and stuff like that. You brought him to pastor, and he said, listen, he took y'all through some premarital counseling, and it was 3 months. Would you be afraid to embrace that relationship?
The honest answer is yes. I think naturally it's scary, but also too, my therapist said, I don't know is an answer. So I'm gonna go with that too. But I think what Corey said is important as well. Like 3 months can be amazing, and I still haven't seen you angry. Angry and sad, mad are two different things. Angry, what really sets you off, and what does that do? How do you treat me in that as well? And then also it lets me know how I'm able to speak to you. Are you able to hear me? And if you're not, you're only able to hear your homeboy, this is not going to work. I need you to trust me in some level. So to Corey's point, I think it does require some seasons. In 3 months, it may be enough, but if it's only good, we haven't seen enough seasons.
What about you, Amber?
We have my father.
Is it his own? No.
My father told me that he asked my mother to marry him 2 weeks after they were dating. And they were married 2 years later because her mother made them wait. But she said yes.
How old were they during that time?
She was 29, I believe, and he was maybe 31.
And her mama made them wait.
And her, yes. My mother was a virgin. My mother was a virgin till she was married and heavily in the church. So she reverenced her parents' opinions and their direction. So her mother made them wait for 2 years, but she said yes 2 weeks, and they stayed married. And he told me this maybe about a month ago. He said, "Do you know your mom and I never had an argument?" I said, "Dad, come on, what?" He said, "We never had an argument." He said, "We may have had a disagreement, but we never had an argument." And they were married for 15 years before she passed, and happily married. So to answer that question, I don't think, for me, if I feel like your relationship with God is intact and I can trust that relationship, and you're telling me that God said that I'm your wife, I don't care if it's 2 weeks, 3 years. Now, I will be honest, though, to be real, like she said, it's scary for me being a single mom because you're not just marrying me, you're marrying my child. So there can be things that are revealed through our courtship that I might be like, does this work for my son? But my son has a very active father who's in his life. So I'm not necessarily looking for someone to be his father. He has one of those. But it is important to make sure that you're a good fit for our entire family. But if your relationship with God is evident and it's real, it's not just talk. I dated a whole pastor once and I didn't see him ever pray other than over the food. Something was wrong with that picture. So my father was a pastor and I constantly saw him in his word. The conversation was always God-centered. So if I hear that, they say that we date people like our fathers. If I hear that now being a more matured, healed woman, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, hey, if God says it's so, then let it be so.
There it is. There it is.
I think that you can know early, but I don't think you should rush into it early. I think if you understood what it takes to stay married, happily married, if you really saw the sacrifice, you truly have to die to yourself for your spouse to live. And that's a heavy thing to take on. It's not about what you see on Instagram. It's not the pretty pictures. It's not the vacation. It takes more than just your relationship with God to be one with somebody who's completely different from you, whose background is completely different from you. There are seasons you do need to see each other in before you rush because you think you're ready. But I'm just saying it could be different, but anger is a big thing. How you deal with finance is a big thing. How you deal with family is a big thing. What are they like with their children? Because a lot of people have kids outside of marriage nowadays. Like, there's so many things in integrity that only time can show.
And that's the question. Time. What does that look like?
There's not a specific.
And that's my point. So what happens is that because what happens is I believe we've complicated marriage so much. Now the reality is, yes, there are some real things that marriage counseling and all that stuff and premarital counseling can unearth. But we've gotten so intelligent about trying to figure out marriage so much that no one is making the decision to get married. And that's what I'm seeing. It's like we're at a state in the United States where marriage isn't happening. And you see our parents and stuff that got married, they didn't know nothing about marriage. They just said, I love you, let's go and build a life together. I'm gonna get this job and you're gonna go ahead and take care of these kids and we're gonna be married. You know what I'm saying?
How many people are getting married right now and divorcing?
But but still that has something to do with long suffering. There's this thing called the fruit of the spirit. And one of the fruit of the spirit is long suffering. And we don't operate with what long suffering looks like. When it gets hard, we say, I'm gonna throw in the towel. Yeah, we treat marriage like we're boyfriend and girlfriends. So the reality is marriage is a covenant. If Christ treated us like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, he would have divorced me a long time ago. He would have broke up with me a long time ago. He would have kicked me to the curb a long time ago. He would have moved out of my house a long time ago. But he says, I'm married to the backslider. What that means that even when we are not in communion with each other, I'm still in love with you. I'm still chasing after you. I'm still pursuing after you. I'm still married to you.
This is to Wifey, Leticia, Whitfield. My God.
So I'm gonna talk to you, Pastor. Haven't we complicated marriage too much? How old were y'all when y'all got married?
Yep.
I don't, 22, 23. 22. Okay.
And how much did you really know? Because
guys, it's been a long time, guys. It's been a long time.
How much did you really know at 22 years old about marriage?
I don't think I knew a lot, but I knew enough.
What did you know?
I knew I had some sense of where I thought my life was going. I had some sense of what I thought that would be like. And I had some sense of the kind of woman that I felt like it would take to go along that ride. There it is. And that's just probably because my parents have been married now 45 years.
Wow.
So that was just kind of my paradigm. And so I just kind of felt like, I mean, I don't advise getting married that's a completely different conversation.
Young.
I don't advise getting married that young.
At 22.
I don't.
Then how old were you at that time?
I was 22.
Oh, y'all both were 22?
I guess so. I was 22.
Yeah, I was 22, so I agree. I think 22 is too young to get married. But I have, and we've talked about
generally speaking, right? Not for everybody.
Yeah,
of course, that'd be hypocritical for us to say, but generally speaking. Yeah.
Because I do wish we had kind of done life for a little bit before we jumped into it, because we got married and had kids, and then we had to learn each other all over again.
Yeah, so here's why I want to qualify that statement. So here's why, generally speaking, of course there are exceptions, but generally speaking, for me, there were things that I didn't know about me at 22.
Yeah.
So I merged my life with another person.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. As I'm growing into who I'm supposed to be, she becomes a casualty of that. So now time wouldn't have mattered if I wouldn't have put in the work. And so that's kind of the catch-22.
Right.
Because sometimes it's the relationship that exposes where you need to work.
Right.
So it's not something you could have fixed before the relationship, because it took the relationship to show you that was broken. So that was kind of so you can be selfish, you can be insensitive, you could be unteachable.
Yes.
All of those kinds of things. And I think what happens is when you're in the context of a relationship and you haven't done that work, or it hadn't got exposed to you that you need to do that work, then the other person becomes a victim of your own lack of development. So what happens is you're growing up with each other, traumatizing each other, and now you got to heal from the hurt that person caused. And so I know a lot of times we talk about bringing baggage into relationships from old relationships, but it's a completely different kind of conversation when the baggage you got is the baggage you gave each other. So now you've got to heal from that. And so that's one of the reasons I would say, generally speaking, I would advise people to wait a little longer.
Shabik, what would you say?
So I agree with the part he said with 22. I have my own kind of theology on how long to date. So like, I don't believe you should date 3 and 4 years. I think that's too long. I'm like, if you don't know by now, you don't need to be with me.
Yeah, now we disagree about that.
We disagree. And we were that way because we were dating.
But it's about age, though. Just think about it, because that looks different for a 20-year-old dating somebody for 4 years and a 56-year-old talking about, well, I'm 60 now, I'm ready to settle down. You like...
I definitely think age is a factor. I think age is a factor. But I mean, I'm thinking if someone is 30 and you've been dating you've been dating a year, by that time you've seen every season, and you should know if you want to be with that person or not. So by that time, I'm like, well, if you don't want me, then what are we going to do?
Feel like you going to say something else, Shamika.
Not sure. Go somewhere else, get to the left.
And so how long did y'all date before y'all got married?
A year.
I think dated about a year. We knew each other like 3 years.
Okay, y'all knew each other before y'all.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell this. Yeah, well, I am going to tell a little bit of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of like...
My shot.
Yeah, she shot.
No, it's not that. It was...
No, say that part, though.
Huh?
That's the funny on this.
No.
What's that?
The part that you didn't want to say. She shot herself.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, she shot her shot.
And this is the thing, because as I was listening to you all talk, you know, I do know, and because I work with a lot of couples and coach them and things like that. So a lot of times for guys, they say they may be intimidated and may not be able to walk up to someone. So I can't imagine walking up to someone and then everybody's telling me no. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not even gonna worry about it. I'm gonna step back. So I'm like, I'm gonna put myself in a position where I don't want him to be intimidated. If I think he's fine, then I'm gonna give him my number.
So what did you say to him?
Yeah, no,
we're gonna rewind.
That's true.
Gloss over it like that.
Rewind.
That's not how this went down. That's not how this went down. So there was no intimidation.
I wasn't intimidated. No, you was trying to holler at somebody else.
Yes.
And I just was like, no.
Yes. So
period.
This is what happened. God blocked it.
God blocked it.
He wouldn't let it be so. I'm glad he blocked it. Thank you, Jesus, C-Block.
Might be watching. Stop.
They don't know who it is. They but no, here's what it was. Sometimes, like she used the word intimidation. I don't think it's the case for most men. It is for some men. Like, I think there's a difference between being a pursuer and being a predator. And what? And sometimes.
Go ahead, unpack it. Unpack it.
And so a man can be a pursuer, right? So a predator is not reading the room. A predator doesn't care about your discomfort. All a predator cares about is what he wants.
Right.
A pursuer is looking for some sign.
There it is.
Of mutual interest. Before, so they're not afraid to pursue, but they're not predatory in their behavior. So they're waiting on you to give me something up to let me know that the approach is okay. I'm not scared to approach. But I'm not a predator either. So
you didn't approach me.
But I played.
That was the one.
Babe.
So, I mean, honestly, though, because I was cute. I was the cuter one in the room. So I had it all together. So I'm just saying,
no.
You could have stepped up here. You stepped their way. You got this stuff.
I'm a leave it alone. Praise God. Praise God. Amen. And amen.
And amen again.
And amen again.
So let me do this. Let me get you out the hot seat real quick. So, 3 years. And so when we look at this, which is something, take a deep breath. Listen, something very interesting that as I begin to unpack the ideology about dating or marrying young, I realized that there's some benefits in it. We always hear people talk about, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And then what happens is that when you start getting your 30s and you start getting settled in your career in your 40s, and now you start creating your own world, it's hard for you to give someone access into your world because you don't have space for nobody else. I was doing an interview today with Donnie on her show, Full Transparency. And I said, I'm very intentional about creating space for my wife now. My home that I just bought last year, I said, I'm curating this space with her in mind because I know that if I get so settled in my singleness, I'm not going to want to bring nobody else in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I have to be very intentional about that. But also, your frontal lobe isn't developed until the age of 23 to 26. And that's the part of your brain for logic. And so I think it's advantageous to start bringing that person to your space so that you can imprint on that person so that y'all in that development stage, those like even when you're a baby, they talk about those formative years of those years where you began to cleave to your parents. If you didn't have mom when you cried and mom didn't pick you up, then you grow up with abandonment issues. When you're going through whatever, you don't feel like nobody's going to meet your attention. So I believe that during those formative years, as we're developing our brain, if we become one with somebody early on, then we create oneness early on and start curating a life together with each other. I believe that there should be systems in place where we get structured counseling. We get real good counseling. I'm talking about therapeutic counseling. Church counseling is great, but it also needs some therapy. We need some therapy going along with it, so unpack some trauma, whatnot. And so you have all of that, and then you can fireproof your marriage properly. And I don't look at it as such a bad thing when people go through traumatic events with each other as they're building each other, because those are the vows that we took. It says for better or for worse. We can't just have better all the time. And so it's through those worst moments that we're able to look at each other and say, but I still love you. I still choose you. It's through those sickness moments. Nobody wants to get sick in marriage. I had over 200 interviews on my podcast where people experienced some real deep sickness where they thought that they lost the person or they were going to lose that person. But then they began to cover each other and begin to pray each other through. And those moments are some of the most beautiful moments that create the foundation of what marriage is intended to be. And so I don't think it's by happenstance that we say for rich or for poor. Who want to be poor? Don't nobody. but you want somebody that if y'all were to lose everything, they'll still be there for you. You know, who wants to be sick? Nobody. But you want somebody that if I was on my sick bed, if I was dealing with a cancer diagnosis, I want somebody that's going to lock arms with me and pray, not just over food, but lay hands on me and pray for me and cover me from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. We want that. And so I say that sometimes, I don't know what y'all been through as a married couple, but I can look at it and say, it birthed this. So you did something right. You did something right. And you didn't do it by yourself. You couldn't have done it without her, and she couldn't have done anything without you. They wouldn't have been who they were had they not gotten together and built this together. And so that's what I look for when I'm looking and I'm vetting and I'm looking for my future wifey, is to know my own blind spots and know that that woman that I say I do to, she's going to bring her full essence into the relationship. I'm going to cover her as she covers me, and we're going to do great exploits in the name of Jesus Christ. That's what it's about. I want to ask y'all this. What are some things that you could leave to encourage these single people? You've heard a lot. You've heard a lot of what single people have. You heard people getting weary in their well-doing in the body of Christ. These single women, you see them disproportionately represented from males and females in the church. What can you say, Pastor, to give them encouragement or speak a directive to men to empower them to rise up as kings in the body of Christ? What can you say?
Well, here's what I can say, and this is kind of like people would think maybe I'm putting on a pastoral hat, but it's just what I believe.
Good.
So I would say this if it's a pastor or not, and that is, you want to do everything you can practically. You want to position yourself practically. You want to do the work, those kind of things. But ultimately, you just don't want a mate. You want the mate that's been made for you and the one you've been made for. So there is a God factor in this.
Yes.
Where he just arranges like serendipitous encounters. You're at Kroger, you're at Publix. There are these that we cannot, and I'm not saying you don't do the practical, but I think so much now you're leaning so much on the practical. And then honestly, how's that working?
There it is. There it is.
So at some point, I think you do have to, and so you do have to take into consideration that I do think in part marriage is a calling. And I do think in part, and I do believe strongly that God knows who you need to be partnered with. And that people say, there's not enough men out here for everybody. Maybe that's true. It's enough for, how many you need? You just need one. So the question is, God can't find one for you?
Teach.
And so I think I do, as you do the practical, there's a faith component. Faith in God's time and faith in God being able to arrange an introduction to your future wife, future husband in places and spaces and ways that you couldn't predict. So that's not just like empty rhetoric. I believe that.
Yes.
And I've seen God do it. And I believe he's going to do it for people that are in this room or people that are watching.
Good, good. Shamika, what would you say?
I definitely think I would say it's a God factor thing, but I think some of the things that maybe Amber even said, for women, I would probably say you need to know what you want, you need to know who you are. So I think for us, when we talked about baggage, I brought a lot of baggage in because I honestly didn't know who I was. I had an exterior that I was confident, but there were so many things I had gone through. I don't think that I really was confident and secure in who Shamika was. So if I would have known who I was, I think that it would have helped our relationship a long time before.
How? Break that practice.
Because I think I was not healthy like I should have been. So there was things that I needed in the relationship, and I would tell my husband, hey, you're not loving me enough, and you're not doing this enough. And he's like, I'm doing everything I know to do. And it's like I was searching for something else. And so once I start embracing my emotional health and my emotional wholeness, it's like I started learning, okay, this is what Shamika needs. So we laughed. He bought me like a sweater and some flowers when we first started dating. And I was like, I'm not a flowers girl. So now I'm 45 years old and I'm like, I like flowers. You know, I like pretty things. So he's like, you didn't like that before. And so that has nothing to do with my emotional health, but I am a different person now. Yes. I like the cuddle. I like the whole hands. That wasn't always me. And so I'm more clear on what I need in my relationship and what my needs are, and I'm able to communicate that. But if you don't know what you want, it's going to be hard to date, because we do believe dating is gathering data. So you're not going to be able to know what you're looking for if you don't know what you need.
That is so powerful. You don't know what to look for if you don't know what you need. And that's important. And to be, like she said, what resonates the most is to articulate what you need. A lot of times people are dating, men and women are dating and want people to be mind readers. If you're the right one, you should know. It's like, now I got to operate in the prophetic dating you. I just got to operate in the prophetic. Just walk around and be like, I believe right now you're hungry. It's Italian food. It's Italian. Nope, it's Mexican. It's Mexican. I feel it in the spirit. Just tell him you're hungry. Tell him you want something to eat. And stop saying you don't know. And then when he tells you, all right, you want to get this? Nah, I already had that yesterday. Well, what about this? Nah, I already had that. Well, what do you want? I don't know what I want. Just say it. Communicate. But it's so important where they both everybody touched on dating from a healed perspective. When I date now, quickly I assess even my mere attraction to a person. Am I attracted to them from my unhealed version, my toxic, what I got delivered from? Or am I attracted to them from the healed version who God is calling me to be? I ask myself that because sometimes when you meet people and you go, I feel like we just known each other forever. That may be a familiar spirit that's attached itself to you for years and you become one with that thing. And then when it comes and shows itself, it's like, I just feel like, and then 6 months later, you like, I'm dating a whole narcissist right now. But you find yourself always dating that same type of person over and over again. So check in with yourself, check in with inventory and say, okay, God, who is this person? See, some of y'all are afraid for God's word to override your own desire. And so you got to get to a place when I tell you I'm not married to nothing but the will of God. So I can like you. You can be the finest woman, the dopest woman. You can lay hands on me and have me slain in the spirit. I'm going to still say, God, is this the one? Because the reality is I can't deal with another heartbreak. How many of y'all like heartbreaks? I don't know nobody like heartbreaks. Y'all saw my episode that I did in January. My heart was hurt. Did y'all see that episode? Please say no. No, y'all did? Okay. All right. I can't deal with the heartbreaks. And so what happens is, and when I fall in love with somebody or I give my heart to somebody, I give everything. Because I don't want to leave the relationship and I go, I know I should have did this, but I was afraid to love. I'm going to love with my whole self. So if it don't work out, I'll say, I gave it that old college try and it didn't work out. And so the reality is that I believe, just like they just said, bring God into the relationship, bring God as the person that's vetting and try the spirit by the spirit. And I believe we're going to be all right. We're going to really be all right. They had a code up there for you to text questions. Did anybody send questions in? Let me look. Y'all did. What'd you say?
Got it.
Oh, you got it? Oh, Lord Jesus. The whole essay. Oh, I got it. How does church prepare a marriage for marriage? All right, that's a good question then. This would be you, Pastor. How does the church prepare unmarried people, specifically men, for marriage?
Oh, yeah. I can't speak to the church. I can speak to this one.
Talk about it.
And so there are two primary avenues that are pretty extensive. And I think maybe we need to do a better job of, I think, putting this in front of people. But one, we have something called marriage boot camp.
Good.
And that is the training and the teaching components of that. It's done by my wife. And, I'm really, really proud of that because she lives it. She's an amazing wife and we've got an amazing marriage. And so I trust the content that she's releasing to the people because I know it's rooted and grounded in biblical principle, et cetera. So how long is that? How long is marriage boot camp? Yeah, so that's 6 weeks. So that's one avenue, but I take men through, there are some men who go through something we call Made Men basic training.
That's not bad. Yeah.
And that is, and that's 12 weeks.
Well,
and that is like if we're using military vernacular, that's not Army. That's Navy SEAL. So it is 12 weeks. It is intensive, and we deal with all elements of responsible manhood. Because if you get into responsible and biblical manhood, then that's half the battle with marriage. So when you got a guy that knows how to manage himself and manage himself morally, live pure, manage money, lead a home, know what it means to be a parent, understand what it means to lovingly serve your wife. So those are some of the things that we take men through here at Change. So I can't, obviously it's not perfect, but we're intentional with it. And I think I probably got some men in the room who've been through it who will testify.
I heard him.
That, that if you lean into it, it's transformative.
Made men. That's good. The single men, there was a question. Are single men who confess Christianity willing to wait until marriage for sex? Are you honestly celibate or abstinent? Y'all want to answer that? Corey?
This thing, no. Or in a too much.
I'm single. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm hosting it. I got to allow this. I got to show respect to my guests to see what they would like to say about this.
Yeah, I can answer that. I'm more than willing. I'm currently in that season where I'm doing so. I feel like the right woman for you will allow you also to flee from sin, and the wrong woman will get you closer to it. And so for me, like, sex doesn't come in my mind when I'm not looking at you as an object. I'm looking at you as a partner, as somebody who I can grow with and love. And so I think sometimes when we're immature in our spirit and ourself, we're looking for the wrong things. But when you're looking for the right thing, it's actually a lot easier than you think. So for me, it's very easy, but I'm also very single. So I haven't been tempted like that. I'm just being honest. But I'm looking for that right person to help lead me and guide me as well as a woman. Like, don't put me in positions and I won't put myself in positions, so that we can together honor God and our relationship in the covenant, so that when we get married, it's much more special.
Good. And he's
Can I say that if you are in that, you can change that. The right man will wait for you. I took it off the table until we got married. So the right one, if he's in front of you, if he sent him, then he'll wait for you. It's worth it. So even if you started off the wrong way, you can change right now and make that decision. You gotta want to please God more than you want to please that man. Oh.
Good. Anthony. You know, why you always laugh when I say his name? He gonna say something, throw it off.
What was the question again?
The question was, are single men who confess Christianity willing to wait? Why am I making it more specific? Are you, as a Christian man who confess Christianity, willing to wait until marriage for sex? Are you honestly celibate or abstinent?
So no, I have not abstained. I'm gonna be very honest about that. And I think that's a problem with Christian men. Single men, we say the right things on stage when we get in front of the body of the Christ, but we won't be honest.
Teach.
So the mature part of me was here and say, no, I have not been abstinent. Am I willing to wait? Absolutely. Here's my only concern, not as a pastor, not representing Change Church. We got to stop saying that the right person will wait, because that could be the right person and you're still having sex with the right person. It's the heart. And I agree with what she just said. If y'all are willing to step away and get it right and get before God, get before pastor, it doesn't matter really where you are. I think we put so much emphasis on sex, but I know virgins who are going to hell. And so for me, I'm just going to keep it up. And so for me, everything that we said, I'm just being honest. It's like, listen to what the Pastor Darius just said. He didn't harp on purity. He said, is this man a man? Is he a leader? Does he love people? And so for me, I'm not just focused on trying to abstain from sex. I'm trying to be the daggone best man God has made me to be. And being that man, I will fall. It may not be with sex, but I may fall and cut somebody out. That's being real.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow as that man.
Something interesting. She said, your wife out there speaking. Listen. So listen, you said something really key too. In seasons where you're practicing abstinence, you'll find challenges with women that don't respect your abstinence, correct?
Yo, man, I knew you was going to go there.
I had to.
You was going to skip that.
No, I want to say that. Because a lot of times they always put the onus on the man and be like, these men not waiting. But I've had my experiences out in these dating streets, and some of that adversity come from these women. And so y'all have heard me talk about it in season 2 of my podcast. I took a vow of abstinence. I've always been transparent about that. I've had my wins. I'll be abstinent for about 7 to 8 months, and I'll fall off for about a year. And then I'll be abstinent again. This ain't gonna be a safe space. This ain't gonna be a space. If this ain't gonna be a safe space, I'm gonna leave. Can I? It's testimony time. The math ain't math that I understand, and we ain't going day for day. I'm saying that I've been having sex a long time. I'm 46 years old. When you're trying to stop a habit, it takes a little time. Okay.
Say.
I'll be abstinent for about 7 to 8 months. I fall off about a year. I'll be abstinent again about 9 months. Fall off at 13 months. But so I'm back abstinent again. And so God be taking too long to bring my wife. I can be abstinent if I can meet my wife around 6 months to 8 months. I'd been abstinent when we got married. I would have saved myself for her. But the way this math is math, and it just ain't adding up right. So I'm trying. Y'all pray for me. Pray for my strength in the Lord. That's what they used to say in the back of the day. Pray for my strength in the Lord. So my goal and desire is to operate in discipline. The reason why it's so important to me is because God told me when I was in my early 20s, God says you'll never be faithful to your wife unless you first become faithful to me. And he said, while you are single, I am your lover. You are married to me. And so every time you step outside of me, then you're committing adultery on me. That's a hard pill to swallow. I keep cheating on God. I'm sorry, but that's my goal, is to get to a place where I'm faithful to him. And what that did, that manifested in my marriage because I wasn't disciplined in that area. I didn't kill that Goliath before it became a Goliath in my life. And then what happened, because you got to kill those things while they're still little baby Goliaths, because they're going to rear their heads up real big in your marriage. And then you'll have to try to fight that thing, or that thing may overthrow you. And I've been very transparent that I was unfaithful in my past marriage several times. And then I said, okay, I didn't even like who I became in that marriage. And I said, you know what, God, I don't like me. And so the Dear Future Wifey podcast was birthed after my divorce, after I filed for divorce. I said, I got to go to a place of healing because I no longer like who I am. And I'm going to have a space on the internet where I can be transparent, where I can be vulnerable. Coined the moniker Lit, where I can live intentionally and transparently. And I'm a be me. God knows who I am. I can't hide myself from God, so I ain't scared of none of y'all out there. And so what happens is I said, I'm gonna be very transparent with God. And I said, I can't be the only person going through this thing and navigating through these spaces. And so I use the Dear Future Wifey podcast as my online journal to go through healing. And so, and I'm excited about what God has been able to do in this journey. But best believe that my goal is to be disciplined in the area of my body. I want to consecrate my body before the Lord so that I can offer myself as a sacrifice for my wife, holy and pleasing, acceptable, not only to God, but for her too. That is the goal. That is the mission. I am Leticia, and I approve my own message. Listen, there it is. Here's another comment before we go. Are the Mavericks winning? They are. Okay, I need them to win. Someone said this, waiting on God, but do you believe God sends you your spouse? Okay. So many people say they're waiting on God to send their husbands or wife, but do you believe God sends you your spouse? Why or why not? Who want to jump on that? Yeah. Do you believe that God sends you your wife?
Yes. I'm wondering if there's something else underneath the question though.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if something to do with soulmates or anything like that is under the question in terms of,
it probably
is there only one person he will send?
It could be that. It says so many people say they are waiting on God to send their husband or wife, but do you believe that God sends you your spouse? Why or why not? So yeah, you can touch on the mindset of soulmates, touch on that real quick, and then ask if you are waiting and you are offering yourself and you're saying, God, I'm being patient, I'm being steadfast and unmovable, I'm serving in the church, I'm paying my tithes and offering, I'm volunteering in all the auxiliaries and ministries, I'm taking wife prep classes, I'm doing all this. Here I am. Where is my spouse?
Yeah, I can't speak to that. And then I can't speak to that because here's what I believe. I believe singleness is not a curse.
Thank you.
And marriage isn't a right. Singleness is not a curse.
Yeah, marriage isn't a right.
Marriage isn't a right. And so for me to say like, hey, there's a way you can earn a spouse through good deeds would, I think, just be completely inconsistent with everything about my belief system. So I think I wouldn't go that far, but it would be hypocritical of me, like, one, to read the Bible, and then two, to be sitting here and to say God doesn't send a spouse.
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to what he sent me.
There it is.
And so, but that doesn't mean that everybody's experience is like our experience, that it's a divine, like God spoke to me and told me, this is your wife, you marry her. But that's my experience.
Right.
I'm not saying that that happens every way for everybody. Rod just said he looked at Leticia and said he knew. When we first started, I didn't know. She didn't know. But as we grew together in relationship, we felt like this was it. And then when it was time, I felt like God spoke to me. So I just think, yes, God sends. We just need to be open to the different ways.
There it is.
That he sends.
I think that's really important when you said the different ways, because I think that we fairy tale the courtship and believe that God's going to send them this way, and you done wrote everything down about how they encounter. And when it doesn't look the way you think it's supposed to come, you're like, he can't be the one. And I think a lot of people have overlooked their husbands and wives because you're looking for it to come in a different package. Let me get back to this question right here. How do you navigate? Well, let me ask. Maybe one of the single people can jump on this. How do you navigate staying hopeful while dating when a lot of people don't want relationship or marriage anymore?
I think it's about trusting God. I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes in dating, and I am where I am because I was rushing. I was trying to make something happen. You know, even I love my child, but I was 37 years old when I had him. So it's like, oh, why you wait all this time to have a baby when my clock was ticking? So I think you have to be willing to trust that God has your best interest in mind. He said, my plans are to prosper you and not to fail you. And so whenever I'm thinking about, you know, just where I am in life, I'm like, God, I trust you. And that's how I navigate this. And that's how I stay hopeful, because he knows my desires. He is my father. I can call my dad right now, and there is nothing that he would not do for me. So why would God withhold anything from me?
Yes.
But as a parent, becoming a parent taught me so much about how God thinks of us. My son may want this piece of candy, but I know that he needs dinner first. I know that he needs nutrition first. I know that this candy he's allergic to, but he doesn't. So he might be upset, stomp his little feet up the stairs, and you slam that door one more time, we got a problem. But I know what's best for him. So even though he doesn't understand it, I know I understand. And so I just feel like I know that God, when I don't understand him and why he might withhold or why he's delaying, not denying, then I can just live my life and I'm not focused. Even at 42 years old, I'm not panicking that I'm not married. Like Petey just said, it's not a curse. I enjoy being single. I enjoy coming and going as I please. But I do want to lay down with my husband.
Yeah.
We have desires, but no, it's not just physical desires, emotional, it's partnership and all those things. But I'm so happy with where I am that I am not desperate. Desperation caused a lot of trauma, a lot of bad decisions. And I'm not there anymore. I'm just very happy with where I am.
Good.
Practical thing. If a lot of people in your circle do not want relationships, change your circle.
Facts.
And one thing I have to done is when I'm allowed to be around Darius and Shamika, because, you know, they're married. Most married people tend to stick with that. But when I'm invited to be around them, I soak that up. You know why? Not just to get the wisdom of them too, but because they attract other like-minded, single, successful, beautiful ladies. So if I shift my environment, now everyone in that environment is seeking healthy relationships. But if my environment is, I don't want a man, I don't need no man, or I don't want no woman, then bruh, I got to shift. And when I started shifting, that's when I started noticing there's a lot of amazing ladies out there. And it even made me want to be like, all right. Like when PD checked me, he was like, yo, this is why I didn't push back. I didn't make no excuses. I asked him, what do I need to be doing? What are you doing with Pastor Shamika? And I shut up and I listened.
Let me ask you this, because somebody asked this question. Anthony, what would you say you are looking for in a helpmate? That's number 20 right here. They said, Anthony, that's your name right there, right?
That's sad.
You could say, Anthony.
You could say.
What it say right here, man?
I said my 5 S's, but that is just that, right? I've said that. But I think for me, when I'm looking for a helpmate, I'm asking for a helpmeet. And there's, if you really understand that for me, as I'm learning and growing, my wife will help me meet my assignment for God. And so when I find that woman, I'm going to be like my man over there and tell her she the one. 3 weeks, 3 years. I'm just playing, Shamika. But she would not let me do that. But me understand that is one thing I am looking for is I have that level of success. But even Sarah Jakes told me just a couple of weeks ago, the success that I have is nothing compared to when I meet that woman.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about meeting that woman who can see my weakness, who can see what God has called me to do. And she helps me fulfill that even more. And watch this, I help her fulfill her assignment as worth.
Fact.
But she still got the beat. Anyways.
You got the beat. You better say
I
something.
think that's good because I feel like a lot of the ladies will ask me, what is it that I'm doing wrong? What is a man looking for? So I think that's helpful to know. And I know even for you, I feel like we have these conversations. So just coming from even a spiritual father's aspect or one of the other guys, if a woman asks me, what is it that he's looking for? How would I tell them to position themselves? Like, is it an attitude? Is it a mindset they're supposed to have? Or is it a level of humility? Or is it supposed to be soft life? Or like, what is it that men are looking for? I mean, I know you're married to me now, but
I don't know.
Good answer.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know what to do. I've been inside so long. I don't know.
But Pastor, look at me, sis. Look at me, big sis. Help me. Talk to me.
Turn around.
Talk to me. Because listen, and I think this is why, and I've said this behind closed doors, I say it publicly, when I meet my woman, she is sitting down with Pastor Shamika. Not my wife, not my fiance, my woman. Because I'm going to be dating with intentionality. The reason why I say this is because when you look at her, she's a boss. She helps runs this church. He leads it, he runs it, but he leads it better with her. And I think that there's this perception that men don't want a strong woman. What? Bring me everything that God gave you. But when you come, how you present that to me, that's what's going to make me be like, you the one or you not the one. Make $1 million, make 10 million, make more than me. I love it. But how you come, if you come to me treating me like I'm your employee, I quit before you even gave me the job. And so I think for me, man, we're looking for that boss. We want that woman that can help me because what I'm building, I don't need no soft woman only. I need someone who can carry something, who has softness. But when you come to me, Lord Jesus, come to me looking good, loving God, and helping me out.
Can I just say this too? This brother is dropping gems right here. Can I get invited to lunch? Can y'all read me for filth? Because I need something. But no, in all seriousness though, to what you just said, Pastor Shamika, like what are men looking for? I almost hold back from telling a man my list because then it becomes performative. So now you're checking off my boxes until there's something I forgot or I chose not to tell you, and then you're really showing me something that was. So what do we do? Do we tell them? Do we withhold? Like, how do we navigate that thing?
No, don't tell them, just vet. It's like all you do is just observe. Women, y'all have the highest form of discernment. You know, the world calls it intuition or whatnot. We're in the body of Christ. It's discernment. And so utilize that, watch. And if you're very intentional about watching his actions line up with his words or whatnot, you'll be able to check off your own boxes. You'll be able to say, hold on, I was looking for a man that was this, and he is that. And you'll just keep talking and always confer with the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, am I seeing a representative? Am I seeing his authentic self? And keep watching and keep watching. And then you'll be able to lean into him more. One of the biggest things that happens, and I've seen this happen, and y'all seen my episode, is that sometimes and Sarah Jake said this on my podcast, it's easier to deal with a counterfeit than with a real one. See, y'all don't want to own that, because when somebody is real and authentic and shows up with no hidden agenda, it makes you say, okay, now I got to put my big girl panties on and I got to be the woman and the wife that God called me to be. And I can no longer use excuses to be able to get rid of him. I got to stand 10 toes down and show up as the woman that God has called me to be. And so when she said that on my podcast, I think the video got like 7 million views or something over the last 30 days. But that was so wise because of the fact it's a real thing that you meet so many counterfeits that when you meet somebody that's a real thing, you get scared and sometimes you self-sabotage it.
Can I, and it's not a pushback, just an alternative viewpoint on this. So I agree. I don't think you wouldn't want to rattle off your list because you don't want it to be performative. Then at the same time, I think it's important before you get too emotionally involved to see how a man responds when you're trying to teach him how to love you.
Come on now.
So if you're not giving any instruction, then you won't be able to see how he responds to when you're trying to guide him on a way to express a love he feels.
Yeah.
But he has to be taught on how to deliver that love in a way that lands in your heart. And if you're going to have a long-term relationship, so you're looking at over 2 decades here, and if you're going to have a long-term relationship, you're going to hit seasons where he's got to be retaught.
Yes, sir.
Because you're going to become a version of life is going to change you in ways that you become a different version of yourself that now has different needs. And you're going to have somebody that is flexible enough to be able to adapt and to give you what you need in this season so that you're not in a relationship getting what you used to need. So it's just another way to look at it.
I love that. Well, stay on this question then, Pastor. What would be your advice for a single woman in her late 50s who hasn't been married but desires to, even though she's enjoying her single life, meeting eligible men? How does she do that? And please consider that she is considered high salary by the government standard and does not want a man with debt, as she has worked hard during her younger years while watching men that are currently available in her surroundings play around.
That's good.
She is not 50. That's every woman in this circle.
You said she's 59?
She's 50. She in her 50s.
Okay, it's not bad.
In her late 50s.
So here's what I think. Late 50s, this is important for everybody, but I think the older you get, the more important it becomes.
Yep.
That you become crystal clear on preferences, difference between preferences and actual needs. I think everybody has to be honest and realistic about the pool you're picking from. And I don't think in any way you should violate your values, because that's not going to be good for you. And ultimately, it's not going to be good for the relationship. But I would say to that person, hey, you probably want to be crystal clear on whether or not some of these things you listed, is that a need or is that actual preference? Because if you don't differentiate between that, your picking is going to become slimmer and slimmer.
One person.
And
be one person. Be like, I gotta find them. They're in Thailand somewhere. I gotta go find them.
Yeah. So that would probably be that would be my advice from a personal perspective.
And I think that's good, because a lot of times people have, like you said, they'll dwindle it down to somebody that's an anomaly. And then you mad at God because you haven't met him yet. And that's why I say, I think you met him. And that's why I say getting married later on, you start shaping your world. Now she's saying, I don't want a man that's in debt. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what does debt look like to you? Are you saying that you don't want him to have to use your money to pay his bills? Or can he sustain his own bills and you'll be okay with that? That's why I think that sometimes, matter of fact, let's talk about this real quickly. When y'all met each other in y'all in y'all 20s, what was y'all finances looking like?
Well, I didn't have any. And this is where we don't have a daughter, and we always wanted one, but we didn't. And we had kids really early, and both our kids were a surprise. And that was God, because if we had waited later, we wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah.
So he knew what he was doing there, but it's weird because I don't know if I would have been okay with my daughter marrying me. But that's just the real. I'm not saying, and it had nothing to do with character, but just everything to do with the financial condition I was in.
Good start. But you were 22, 23?
Yeah.
No. I was. But when I say financial condition I was in, one, I didn't have money. And then two, I didn't have literacy.
Come on now.
So I got into college, and they on the yard with them free t-shirts, them thermoses,
Getting no credit
and their credit card. So by the time I got out of college, I had been to Jackson State games. I had been to her school. So that I'm 22, credit shot.
Yeah.
2021 credit shot just because of credit card debt and bills. So there was like a lack of financial literacy. I didn't have money at all. And then when we first started dating, I was going to law school. Then I switched it up when I offered law school as an Isaac and decided to go to seminary. So she's thinking, oh, he broke now, but he going to law school. Then I'm like, I'm going to seminary.
They're going to be broke.
Yeah, so if my daughter came to me at 22 and said, I want to marry a guy who's credit bad, who's broke, then I find out his cell phone in her name, who can't buy the ring, but the credit bad, so he can't put the ring in his name. So he got to take her to the store.
Paint the picture.
Say, this the ring I want for you. I'm going to pay for it.
On your credit.
But you got to fill out the credit application. See, I'm giving it to you.
There it is. Talk about it.
That was my reality. And so I don't know. And I don't think, I'm being honest, I think it'd be hypocritical for me to not be honest and say, I don't know, knowing all of that I would, how comfortable I will feel
giving your daughter away.
Giving the daughter away to me. That's why I got much love for her. I take care of her parents to this day.
Good.
That's why I got much love for her parents, because they saw something in me, I guess. They better than me.
They better than you?
They better than me. Yeah.
So what did they say to you when you asked for their blessing?
Man, I think they had more faith in my future than me.
Yeah.
They had more faith in my future than me. And so I never felt slighted. I never felt inferior. I never felt anything. My first year or so of seminary, her parents paid our bills.
Really?
Her parents paid our bills.
That's powerful.
So I think, so like when people at Change Church see me maybe get emotional talking about my in-laws, it was because of the way they trusted me. And she their only daughter together.
Wow.
Because of the way they trusted me was something that mattered so much to them. And I'm looking at them saying, I don't know if I would have handled me the way that you did.
Shamika,
so that's why they won't have a need as long as they on earth.
I would shoot.
There's not a need they will have.
Well, they invested well. They invested really well in you. Shamika, what did you see?
No, I did. I saw something different in him, because in the past when I dated, I had never paid for anything, food or anything like that. But when I met him, it wasn't about those type of things. We dated, but we were intentional, because by that time we were like juniors in college. And so I knew that it wasn't about all that playing anymore. I had done that, and I'm like, no, I want someone that's going to be serious. So I looked at his relationship with God, and then I looked at how he taught me. So I loved God, I knew God, but I was still for the streets a little. But but I saw
outside, baby, not for the streets.
Okay, so outside girl was out here.
Listen, you see the connotation?
There's a difference.
There's a difference.
You are outside.
Oh, okay, I was outside, man. Okay, got you.
Not for the streets. That's not the right word. That's not it. Go ahead. You were the streets, by God. You went out, you were partying, sorority stuff. It was that stuff, babe. For the streets means something different. No, I'm serious. We have to keep her
on the window. So, like, just don't say that.
So I said, Rod was for outside, for the streets. You were outside.
So either way, there was something.
And
Rod was for the street. You was out there.
of course.
So, but there was something about him. I feel like the way he leaned into me, the way he shared his belief, and the way he loved me, I'm like, okay, this is something different. So I was willing to pay for the first date. I was willing to put his cell phone in my name because I'm like, he's different, and this is someone that I would want to marry because of the way he treated me. And I also knew I was making an investment because he was a very smart man. So I'm like, oh, this gonna pay off eventually. And
She said eventually.
And my parents saw that.
How long were y'all together before you saw the promises of God being fulfilled? Where you started reaping the benefit of that? Where you start saying, God, I see it?
I feel like practically it took some years, but I feel like God showed me immediately. Once we got married, we moved straight to New Jersey because he was in seminary. So immediately I saw God showing up in different ways. And the woman that he helped me become, because I do feel like he upgraded me, I saw it then. But then, practically in our life, there were things that I always had on my list because my parents, they were well off. They weren't rich, but they were well off. And so there was dreams that I had as a young girl. And so when we talked about those dreams and he was like, I'm going to make every one of them come true. And they start coming true. I'm like, okay.
That's what he told you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Always one. It's always one.
What? And listen, she living her dreams. I mean, I am excited for her.
Sound a little
But there
skeptical.
still is a level of 22. I'm with that. But 30,
That's the girl.
and you can't pay your bills. Nah, man. That's
about it.
Nah, man. I totally disagree that no man should be in dating or in a relationship if you can't pay your bills. And let's just say you are thriving, you are paying bills, and you getting married, and you talking about, I don't want to marry him. I'm debt free. He ain't debt free. It's not about the practical side of money. It's about the mindset of money. So he could be in debt today, but if his mind is saying, yo, I'm thriving, I'm striving, I'm getting out of debt, get your husband, get your wife. And I disagree with the statement of, well, I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with nothing you said. I'm gonna give you another angle of attack on it. Is once you get married, if I get married to a woman today who has debt, that's my debt.
100%.
I hate debt. So I'm paying it off the moment we get married. And there is no her bank account, my bank account, my bank account, her bank account. It's our bank account together.
Yeah.
It's our vision going together, and I'm gonna take care of that thing. But if you 30 and you a woman, you come to me and you can't pay your own rent, stay with your daddy. He got you.
What if that person just needed that helpmate to help them? Because I know that we're all
35, sis.
They might need somebody to motivate them.
At 35, she needs a man to help pay her rent. I don't know about that. For me.
He said that's not his ministry.
Now I'm paused. Let me stop playing. I'm just trolling a little bit. But a man, no, I don't think a woman should even entertain a man who cannot survive, because if he can't provide for him, he can't provide for both of you. It's not the woman's responsibility to provide for the home. So I will give some leniency there from a financial perspective. This is not relationship advice. This is just a money advice. So I don't understand why ladies get upset. Like, we struggling to pay bills. Well, was he struggling to pay his bills before he met you? And if they say yes, I'm like, hey, I can't help you with that. Y'all need to go see a pastor or a relationship expert, because there's something else there in the conversation. But I do believe that I agree with Pastor Darius. At 40 years old now, if my daughter comes to me at 22, I may be like, after you've seen what I've done. But I still probably be like the grandparents or the in-laws and be like, all right, I got faith in you.
Yeah.
But at 30, you come to me with a man who can't pay his rent? I'm going to tell him to his face, no, you can't marry her. You can come work for me.
Good boy. Y'all give it up for this dynamic panel, y'all. I love Pastor, thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity. You have to. Thank you. That's all I can say. You're a man that I look up to. I think you're amazing. I believe that God's hand is definitely over your life. You lead with an open hand. I just love the brotherhood that we've fostered or whatnot. And I thank you for seeing in me the call of God on my life. And just thank you so much for providing this platform. A lot of y'all know that I advocate for foster care and adoption. I adopted my nephew when he was 7 years old, when he was put in the foster care system because my sister was struggling with a drug addiction. And then again, I adopted my son Armani when he was 16 years old after I did a special with WFAA, the ABC affiliate in my city. And God spoke to my heart while I was out with him on this outing. And God said, that's your son, adopt him. And so I decided to partner with this amazing film called Sound of Hope. It's a film that is a real life story about this beautiful church in Possum Trot, Texas. It's about 2 hours away from where I live. And that church came together about over 20 years ago and decided to help eradicate the foster care system in their city. And they began to adopt kids. And they adopted over 77 kids in their city. They were featured on Oprah and a lot of publications. And so what I did, a lot of y'all may know, after seeing my podcast, I run this video for Kingdom Royale. And Kingdom Royale is a foster home that I'm building in Dallas, Texas. It's going to be a luxury home for foster boys. And so I partnered with this production company, Angel Studios, and they're releasing the film for a limited release on June the 19th, as well as July the 4th. And it's about adoption, and it's an amazing event. Watch the trailer now. And so I believe it's my life mission. We always hear the terminology Black Lives Matter, but our kids are in the foster care system disproportionately, and we got to do something. Back in the day when my grandma was alive, you know, our grandparents would just bring somebody's kid into their house. How many of y'all had grandparents that just, you'd be like, is this that's your cousin? Yeah, really? You know what I'm saying? They'd be bringing kids in the house. Something happened to their mama and now they raising their kids. And so I feel like my life's mission is to help the African-American kids that are in the foster care system. And so if you just go to angel.com/KR, the initials for Kingdom Royale, they're going to be donating a percentage of ticket sales to Kingdom Royale. I have a heavy lift. I'm trying to build a beautiful mansion for foster kids to treat these young kids as kings, to treat them as kings, to take their worst day and make it their best day. And so that's my goal. Again, thank y'all for having me here on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, live at Change Church. Y'all give it up, Atlanta. Thank y'all so much, and God bless y'all.